A plant does not die the moment it turns brown. It dies when the soil stops speaking to it. In controlled experiments, scientists have observed something unsettling. A plant that looks completely lifeless can respond again within hours when the right natural compounds return to the soil. Not days, not weeks, hours. In ancient farming records from forgotten civilizations, there are repeated notes of revival soil mixtures that brought dying crops back after drought. And some of these records were later dismissed as myth, yet similar methods still appear in rural farming communities that never adopted modern chemical systems. Even today, gardeners quietly report the same phenomenon: plants, thought to be gone, suddenly standing upright again after a single night. The question is not whether it happens, the question is why it works, and more importantly, why it is not widely understood. That is not an accident. What you are about to hear is not new knowledge. It is old knowledge that survived in fragments, passed through hands that never wrote books, only practiced results. Welcome to Flora Craft Garden, where forgotten soil intelligence is brought back into focus. Because before fertilizers were manufactured in factories, they were grown, brewed, burned, and buried. And 5 natural materials were at the center of it all. To understand them, we go back thousands of years, to a time when soil was not treated as a surface, but as a living system. In ancient Mesopotamia, farmers studied river flooding not just for water, but for nutrients carried in sediment, learning that life returns strongest where organic matter decomposed naturally. In ancient Egypt along the Nile, farmers mixed crushed eggshells, cooled ash from cooking fires, and soaked plant matter into irrigation channels, not calling it fertilizer but life-feeding soil. In early Chinese agricultural texts, fermented plant liquids were used to restore weak crops, leaves, fruit skins, and grains soaked in water until the smell changed, and that change was the signal that something invisible was forming. Microbial life, long before science had a name for it. In parts of ancient India, ash from sacred fires was returned to fields not as waste, but as correction. A way to restore balance to exhausted land. Different cultures, same understanding. Soil loses strength when life leaves it, and soil regains strength when life returns. Today, we rely heavily on synthetic fertilizers designed for speed, immediate green growth. Quote, rapid results. But speed is not always recovery. Sometimes it is stimulation without healing, because real plant recovery is not just about feeding the plant. It is about reactivating the ecosystem beneath it. The invisible network of bacteria, fungi, and organic reactions that decide whether a plant survives or collapses. This is where 5 natural fertilizers begin to matter again, not as myths, but as biochemical triggers. The first is compost tea. At first glance, it looks like dirty water, organic waste soaked in oxygenated conditions until microbial life multiplies, but under a microscope, populations of beneficial bacteria explode, and these microbes break down locked nutrients in soil and make them available again. A dying plant often suffers not from lack of nutrients in the ground, but from inability to access them, and compost tea reopens that channel between root and soil, sometimes enough to trigger visible recovery within a single night cycle. The second, for centuries, banana peels were discarded without thought. Yet traditional gardeners noticed something unusual. Plants near decomposing fruit waste often grew stronger. Banana peels contain potassium, magnesium, and natural sugars. Potassium regulates water movement inside plant cells. Magnesium supports chlorophyll production. And when broken down in soil or water, these elements act like a restart signal for stressed plants. Not a miracle, but a correct. The third is eggshell calcium. Ancient farmers crushed shells and returned them to soil without knowing the chemistry. But calcium strengthens plant cell walls, and without it, plants become fragile under stress. In depleted soil, adding calcium is like repairing a foundation. Slowly, structure returns, and with structure comes stability. The fourth is Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate, where magnesium is the central atom in chlorophyll. Without it, plants cannot convert sunlight into energy efficiently. A plant may look green but still be starving internally, and when magnesium is reintroduced in controlled amounts, chlorophyll production increases and energy processing improves. The fifth is wood ash, burned plant material returned to soil. Once considered sacred not because of belief, but because of result. Wood ash contains potassium, calcium, and trace minerals, raises soil pH in acidic conditions, and restores mineral balance, acting like a reset button for exhausted land. 5 materials, each simple, each powerful, each misunderstood when removed from natural context. Together they do not force growth, they restore conditions where growth becomes possible again, and science quietly confirms what ancient practice already knew. Soil is not dirt, it is a biological system where a single teaspoon can contain more microorganisms than there are people on Earth. And when that system collapses, plants suffer not just from lack of food, but from lack of communication. Microbes stop functioning, nutrient cycles break, roots lose access, and plants begin to decline. What these natural fertilizers do is not feed in the traditional sense. And they restart cycles, they wake up the underground system. Across regions, similar patterns appear. Organic farms often show higher resilience after drought stress, not because soil is richer, but because soil is alive. Then something changed. In the last century, agriculture shifted towards standardization, predictable outputs, controlled growth, fast results, and synthetic fertilizers became dominant because they were efficient at scale. But efficiency came with a trade-off. Soil began depending on external inputs rather than internal cycles. Over time, traditional methods were pushed aside not because they failed, but because they did not fit industrial systems designed for uniformity and speed. Once knowledge moves out of daily use, it does not disappear, it fades, until only fragments remain in older farming communities, home gardens, and forgotten notes. Today we are seeing the consequences: soil fatigue, rising input costs, plants requiring constant correction instead of natural resilience, and in response, many are quietly returning to older methods, not as nostalgia, but necessity. Because when systems become fragile, simplicity becomes powerful again. The truth is, you do not always need more chemicals to revive a struggling plant. Sometimes you need to restore what was removed: microbes, minerals, organic cycles. Even small applications of these natural inputs can begin visible changes in plant behavior. Leaves lifting slightly, color returning, structure stabilizing overnight. Not magic, biology responding to restored balance. But these methods are not instant solutions for every case. They are corrections to imbalance, and they work best when soil is treated as a living system rather than a container of dirt. Most people never observe this because they only see the surface. But everything happens beneath it. And what happens beneath determines everything above it. The real question is not whether these 5 natural fertilizers work, but how much knowledge has been lost in exchange for convenience. And what else might still be hidden in plain sight, waiting in soil, ash, peel, and water left to ferment quietly in the dark. Because once you realize soil is alive, you stop seeing plants as objects and start seeing them as participants in a system we are still learning to understand. And maybe the most important part is not what we have remembered, but what we have not yet rediscovered. What other methods still exist in fragments, and what would happen if they were brought together again